What if I told you that the greatest basketball player of all time might not be who you think it is? That the man who defined an entire era, sold billions in merchandise, and became a global icon might actually be even better than his legendary reputation suggests? Michael Jordan, 6 championships, 5 MVPs, 10 scoring titles. But here's the thing, those numbers don't even begin to tell the real story. Today, we're going beyond the highlight reels and the mythology to answer one question: how good was Michael Jordan actually? By the end of this video, you'll understand why Jordan isn't just a basketball player, he's a force of nature that changed everything. And trust me, some of what you're about to discover will shock you. But before we dive in, if you're new to FYNK, we break down the greatest athletes and moments in sports history with deep analysis you won't find anywhere else. Hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. February 17, 1963. Brooklyn, New York. A future legend is born, but nobody knows it yet. Michael Jeffrey Jordan enters the world as the fourth of 5 children to James and Dolores Jordan. When he's barely old enough to walk, his family moves to Wilmington, North Carolina, a decision that would shape basketball history. Here's where the Jordan mythology begins. Everyone knows the story. Michael gets cut from his high school varsity team as a sophomore. But here's what most people don't know: he wasn't really cut. He was placed on junior varsity because the coach, Clifton Herring, thought he needed more development time. The difference? Jordan took it as the ultimate insult. This is our first glimpse into what made Jordan different. Most players would accept the coach's decision. Jordan? He used it as fuel. He practiced obsessively, often staying in the gym until they literally turned off the lights. His brother Larry would later say that Michael would cry after losing games of one-on-one in their backyard. Think about that for a second. This is high school basketball, and Jordan is already displaying the psychological makeup that would terrorize NBA players for decades. He wasn't just competitive, he was obsessive. Jordan's high school coach later revealed that Michael would show up to practice 2 hours early and stay 2 hours late. While other kids were hanging out, Jordan was perfecting his fadeaway jumper. While others were dating, Jordan was studying game film. By his senior year, Jordan averaged 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists. College recruiters started paying attention, but even then, he wasn't the consensus top prospect. The University of North Carolina saw something others didn't, and in 1981, the 18-year-old kid from Wilmington stepped onto the biggest stage of his young life. March 29, 1982, the Louisiana Superdome, NCAA championship game, North Carolina vs. Georgetown. A freshman named Michael Jordan stands on the court with 15 seconds left, his team trailing by 1 point. The play call comes in. Jordan sets up on the left wing. The ball finds him. No hesitation. Swish. North Carolina wins 63-62. Jordan's college career is made with one shot. But here's what's incredible: he almost didn't take it. Years later, Jordan revealed that he was so nervous he almost passed the ball. Almost. But legends don't pass. They shoot. During his 3 years at UNC, Jordan averaged 17.7 points per game. Good numbers, but not earth-shattering. What was earth-shattering was how he elevated his game when it mattered most. In clutch situations, Jordan shot 68% from the field in college. 68%. Coach Dean Smith implemented a system that didn't showcase individual players, but Jordan still found ways to dominate. He'd make spectacular defensive plays, grab crucial rebounds, and always seemed to score when Carolina needed it most. Smith later said something that perfectly captures Jordan's essence. Michael's greatest strength wasn't his athleticism, it was his mind. He could see the game differently than everyone else. By 1984, Jordan declared for the NBA draft. The Houston Rockets had the first pick and chose Hakeem Olajuwon. The Portland Trail Blazers had the second pick and chose Sam Bowie, a 7-foot center with injury concerns. They passed on Jordan because they already had a shooting guard named Clyde Drexler. Portland's general manager later called it the worst decision in NBA history. He wasn't wrong. October 26, 1984. Chicago Stadium. Michael Jordan's NBA debut. The crowd of 13,000 had no idea they were witnessing the beginning of basketball's greatest individual career. Jordan scored 16 points in that first game. Solid, but not spectacular. What was spectacular was what happened next. Game after game, Jordan wasn't just playing basketball, he was redefining it. His rookie season numbers: 28.2 points, 6.5 rebounds, 5.9 assists per game. But numbers don't capture the impact. Jordan brought an electricity to the game that hadn't existed before. He wasn't just scoring, he was flying. The transformation of the Chicago Bulls was immediate. They went from 27 wins the previous season to 38 wins with Jordan. More importantly, they made the playoffs for the first time in 3 years. The slam dunk contest at the 1985 All-Star Weekend changed everything. Jordan faced off against Dominique Wilkins in what many consider the greatest dunk contest of all time. Jordan won with his iconic free throw line dunk, but more importantly, he announced to the world that basketball could be art. What made Jordan special wasn't just his athleticism, it was his basketball IQ. As a rookie, he was already reading defenses like a 10-year veteran. He understood spacing, timing, and how to exploit every weakness. Nike saw something special too. They offered Jordan a deal that would change sports marketing forever: $500,000 per year plus stock options and his own signature shoe. At the time, basketball players wore Converse. Jordan's deal with Nike created the template for every athlete endorsement that followed. Despite his individual brilliance, the Bulls were still mediocre. They made the playoffs but lost in the first round to Milwaukee. Critics said Jordan was just a one-man show, that he couldn't make his teammates better. Jordan heard every word, and it made him furious. The 1985-86 season almost ended before it began. Game 3 of the season, Jordan breaks his foot against the Golden State Warriors. The team doctors said he was done for the season. Jordan called it organized lying by the Bulls. The injury kept Jordan out for 64 games, but when he returned in March, he was different. Not physically, that would come later. Mentally, he realized that individual brilliance wasn't enough. He needed to make everyone around him better. But first, he had to prove a point. April 20th, 1986. Boston Garden. Playoffs. Game 2 against the legendary 1986 Boston Celtics. This Celtic team had gone 67-15 in the regular season and featured Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, and Dennis Johnson. Jordan scores 63 points, 63, in a playoff game against the greatest defensive team of the era. The performance was otherworldly. Jordan shot 22 of 41 from the field and 19 of 21 from the free throw line. He scored in every conceivable way, driving layups, fadeaway jumpers, steals leading to breakaway dunks. For one night, he was unstoppable. Larry Bird's reaction afterward became legendary. That was God disguised as Michael Jordan. The Bulls still lost the series in 3 games, but something had shifted. Jordan wasn't just a great player anymore. He was becoming something else entirely. The next season, Jordan averaged 37.1 points per game, the only player other than Wilt Chamberlain to average over 37 in a season. But here's what made it incredible. He also won Defensive Player of the Year, becoming the first guard to do so since 1975. Let that sink in. Jordan was simultaneously the best offensive and defensive player in the league. He led the league in scoring while also leading the league in steals. That's not supposed to be possible. Jordan was just getting started. By 1988, opposing teams realized they had a problem. You couldn't stop Jordan by conventional means, so they created something called the Jordan Rules. The concept was simple: hurt him. Every time Jordan drove to the basket, hit him. Not just foul him, hurt him. The Detroit Pistons, led by Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, and Dennis Rodman, turned this into an art form. Chuck Daly, the Pistons coach, implemented a strategy where they would clothesline Jordan on drives, elbow him in the back, and make every shot attempt a painful experience. The goal wasn't just to stop Jordan, it was to make him afraid to attack the basket. For 3 straight years, the Pistons eliminated Jordan's Bulls from the playoffs. 1988, 1989, 1990. 3 straight years of physical and psychological warfare. 3 straight years of Jordan being knocked to the ground, bloodied, and beaten. Most players would have changed their game, become passive, started settling for jump shots. Jordan? He hired a personal trainer named Tim Grover and added 15 pounds of muscle. He studied every opponent like he was preparing for war. Because to Jordan, that's exactly what basketball was. The psychological toll was enormous. Jordan later admitted that the Pistons made him question whether he could win at the highest level. But instead of breaking him, it forged him into something harder. If you're enjoying this deep dive into Jordan's greatness, make sure you're subscribed to FYNK because we've got plenty more legendary athlete breakdowns coming your way. The breaking point came in the 1991 Eastern Conference Finals. Same opponent, Detroit. Same physical play. But this time, Jordan was ready. The Bulls swept the Pistons. When Detroit walked off the court without shaking hands, it became one of the most unsportsmanlike moments in NBA history. But for Jordan, it was validation. He had conquered his demons. 3 weeks later, Jordan won his first NBA championship. In the locker room afterward, he broke down crying. His father held him as he sobbed. "You don't have to prove anything to anyone anymore," his father whispered. But Jordan wasn't done proving things. 1991 to 1993. 3 championships in 3 years. Jordan didn't just win championships, he created legendary moments that are still talked about today. 1991 Finals, Game 5. Jordan's iconic hand-switching layup against the Lakers. Not just a highlight, a statement that he could beat teams with moves that defied physics. Magic Johnson later said he had never seen anything like it in his entire career. The 1991 championship was special because it represented Jordan finally breaking through. After years of playoff disappointments, he had reached the mountaintop. The Bulls beat Magic's Lakers in 5 games, with Jordan averaging 31.2 points, 6.6 rebounds, and 11.4 assists in the finals. 1992 was the year Jordan became a global icon. The Olympics in Barcelona featured the Dream Team, arguably the greatest basketball team ever assembled. Jordan, Magic, Bird, and Barkley playing together was a basketball fan's dream come true. But it was Game 1 of the 1992 finals that created one of basketball's most iconic moments. Jordan hit 6 three-pointers in the first half against Portland. After the 6th three, he looks at the broadcast table and shrugs. That shrug became iconic. But Jordan wasn't showboating, he was genuinely surprised. He wasn't even a great three-point shooter, averaging just 32% from beyond the arc that season. 1993 Finals, Game 4. Jordan scores 55 points against Phoenix in what many consider one of the greatest finals performances ever. At age 30 in the finals, carrying a team on his back against Charles Barkley's Suns. Charles Barkley later said, "I knew we were in trouble when Michael looked at me before the game and smiled. When Michael smiled, somebody was about to get destroyed." 3 finals MVPs, 3 perfect playoff runs. Jordan had reached the summit, but the cost was enormous. The pressure, the media scrutiny, the constant expectations, it was all taking a toll. October 6, 1993. At the peak of his powers, having just completed the first three-peat, Michael Jordan announces his retirement from basketball. The reason? His father, James Jordan, had been murdered in July during a carjacking in North Carolina. The man who had been Jordan's biggest supporter, his confidant, his anchor, was gone. But there was more to the story. Jordan was exhausted, not physically, mentally. The pressure of being Michael Jordan had become unbearable. Every game was a spotlight. Every shot was analyzed. Every failure was magnified. Jordan later revealed that he had been considering retirement even before his father's death. The murder just made the decision final. What happened next shocked the sports world. Jordan signed with the Birmingham Barons, a AA baseball team, and attempted to honor a promise he had made to his father about playing professional baseball. Critics called it a publicity stunt. Jordan hit .202 with 3 home runs and 51 RBIs in 127 games. Not terrible for someone who hadn't played competitive baseball since high school, but far from major league caliber. But here's the thing about Jordan: even in failure, he was fascinating. He approached baseball with the same obsessive preparation he brought to basketball. He studied video, hired hitting coaches, and treated AA baseball like it was Game 7 of the NBA Finals. After one season, Jordan realized the truth. He was good at baseball, but he wasn't Michael Jordan good. And for Jordan, being anything less than the best was unacceptable. March 18, 1995. A simple press release. "I'm back." 2 words that sent shockwaves through the sports world. Jordan returned wearing number 45, his baseball number, because his iconic 23 had been retired. In his first game back against Indiana, he scored 19 points. Good, but not great. The basketball world wondered, was Jordan still Jordan? In the playoffs against Orlando, Jordan scored 48 points in Game 1, but the Bulls lost the series. Jordan wasn't quite ready. That summer, he trained like a man possessed and switched back to number 23. The 1995-96 Chicago Bulls are considered by many to be the greatest team in NBA history. They went 72-10 in the regular season, a record that stood for 20 years. Jordan averaged 30.4 points per game and won his 4th MVP award. But the real dominance came in the playoffs. The Bulls went 15-3, losing just 3 games total. In the finals against Seattle, Jordan averaged 27.3 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 4.2 assists while playing suffocating defense. The second three-peat had begun, but each championship told its own story. 1997, Jordan wins his 5th championship. The flu game against Utah becomes legendary. Jordan scores 38 points while battling severe food poisoning, collapsing into Scottie Pippen's arms after hitting the game-winning three-pointer. The image of Jordan, barely able to stand, willing his team to victory, perfectly encapsulated his competitive spirit. But it was 1998 that provided the perfect ending, the last dance. Game 6 against Utah. Jordan steals the ball from Karl Malone, dribbles up court, and faces Brian Russell one-on-one. With 5.2 seconds left, Jordan hits the shot that would define his career, a pull-up jumper over Russell. As the ball goes through the net, Jordan holds his follow-through, staring down the crowd. It was basketball poetry, the perfect ending to the perfect career. 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs. Perfect when it mattered most. After the game, Jordan walked off the court for what everyone assumed was the final time. Phil Jackson, his coach, later said, "Michael didn't just win that game. He authored it like a screenplay." So how good was Michael Jordan actually? Let's examine the statistical evidence. Career averages: 30.1 points, 6.2 rebounds, 5.3 assists, 2.3 steals per game. The only player to average over 30 points for his career. Playoff averages: 33.4 points, 6.4 rebounds, 5.7 assists. His scoring average actually increased in the playoffs. Think about that. When the games mattered most, Jordan got better. Finals record: 6-0. 6 finals appearances, 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs. Perfect. But here's the most telling statistic. Jordan's teams never lost a playoff series when he played a full, healthy season. In his prime, with Jordan healthy, the Bulls literally never lost when it mattered most. Beyond the numbers, Jordan's impact extended far beyond basketball. He was the first athlete to become a global brand. The Air Jordan line generated over $3 billion in revenue during his playing career alone and continues to generate over $5 billion annually today. Jordan didn't just endorse products, he became the product. His partnership with Nike created a template that every modern athlete follows. Before Jordan, athletes endorsed shoes. After Jordan, athletes became lifestyle brands. The 1992 Olympics showcased Jordan globally with the Dream Team. For many international fans, Jordan was their introduction to NBA basketball. He single-handedly globalized the sport. Space Jam in 1996 crossed him into entertainment, grossing $250 million worldwide. Jordan wasn't just an athlete, he was a cultural icon who transcended sports. Players who faced Jordan describe an almost supernatural presence. Magic Johnson said, "Playing against Michael was like playing against a man among boys." Larry Bird added, "I've seen Michael do things that I didn't think were humanly possible." Even his competitors respected his greatness. Kobe Bryant, who modeled his game after Jordan, said, "I studied every aspect of his game, not just the moves, but the mentality, the way he approached every possession like it was life or death." So how good was Michael Jordan actually? He was better than his reputation, better than the highlights, better than the mythology. Jordan didn't just play basketball, he redefined what was possible. He showed that individual excellence could elevate an entire team, an entire sport, an entire culture. The GOAT debate will continue forever. LeBron, Kobe, Kareem, they all have arguments, but Jordan has something none of them have: perfection when it mattered most. 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, 0 defeats in the finals. When the pressure was highest, when the lights were brightest, when everything was on the line, Jordan never failed. That's not just greatness, that's immortality. Michael Jordan wasn't just legendary, he was inevitable. The numbers tell the story, but they don't tell the whole story. Jordan changed basketball forever. He turned it from a sport into art, from entertainment into obsession. And if you want more deep dives into sports legends like this, make sure you're subscribed to FYNK. We're breaking down the greatest athletes and moments in sports history, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Hit that notification bell, drop a comment about who you think is the real GOAT, and I'll see you in the next one.